vegetables was dropping right off our trees in the yard, you know, and Grandma used to harvest these things. I went to the market with her, and, you know, so it was a fantastic upbringing of what fresh really was all about.
So what got you to do the raw food? What led you to this?
Well, what I tell you, after being on the college campus and trying to be up to date with trail mix and these kind of things, you know. I mean, I'm still eating my hamburgers and hot dogs, but everybody, you know, on the campus got the trail mix. So I'm like, well, I got to find an economic way to put my own trail mix together. So I found out that they bought these things at health food stores. So I went to the health food store to get my sunflower seeds and my, you know, coconut chips and raisins and stuff to do my mix. And I saw books there. And I was just curious, you know, because I'm at that age, you know, I'm looking for intellectual stimulation. So I just thumbed through books, and the book I bought, the first time I was in there, I bought Paul Bragg's Scientific Fasting.
Oh,
I said, well, before I do anything, I need to fast.
You started right.
I started right, yeah, and my first fast floored me. Yeah, I went to the store to get my fixings for my trail mix, and I was glancing through the books, and I picked up Paul Bragg's Scientific Fasting, and I said, this is for me. I really want to fast. I got to really change my life, because, you know, after getting into the SAD diet, I felt like I had a little heart murmur, lost my stamina, I had to get off the swimming team and the track team. I said, it must be this food, and I put a whole bunch of junk in, so I'm on a detox. Did that 36-hour fast. We're talking 1968, my first fast. You know, I'm not even a vegetarian, you know. Right. So that Saturday night, you know, I was drinking a gallon of distilled water with lemon juice. I know. I got in the middle of the night to go urinate, and next thing I know, I fell out, I dropped down, you know, like I just blanked out, you know, stopped beating me up, you know, floating around in the bloodstream. So I woke up that morning, I'm like, damn, where am I? What's going on? You know, this is a mess. What am I doing? Trying to do this stuff. But let me go back and read the book, because I didn't get to the part of what to expect. And I realized, holy cow. So I learned how to break the fast, and that was it. That was my start right there. Then based on that, everything from there on was just strictly analytical persuasion. You know, reading the books of Clement, you know, yeah, what's his name? Hilton Montana.
Exactly.
Yeah, George Clement, you know, all the big raw food is moved to Sebring, Florida to get into the orange grove. And all of the great masters of the time, Shelton and everyone else, and of course, then getting wind of what was going on in Boston with Hippocrates, Hand Wigmore. And then here comes Dick Gregory running across the country fasting.
That's right.
And I read Dick Gregory's book in high school, you know, up from Nigger, you know, from the back of the bus. And this guy was a 300-pound comedian.
Exactly.
And Dr. Lavinia Fulton out of Chicago, she got a hold of him, put him on a fast, and knocked him down to 98 pounds. So I said, this is what I need to do. So back then, you know, I became a full vegan in 1970, but it took me like 6 years to transition, you know, because I was just moving as I got the knowledge. And then, so by 1976, I'm completely 100% all live food, and I realized what was happening to me also, because I tried for about 3 years to go all live, but what I found out was anytime I smoke a little ganja, I have to run to the Mexican restaurant for some pasta beans, you know, some corn chips. So once I stopped smoking, I had no problem with live food. You know, the munchies are real, man.
It's better than you want to ground yourself, but you're too heavy, cerebral, to bring you back to your body.
Bring that blood from the brain to the digestive system.
Exactly.
Yeah,
well, that's a great story.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Emery has an interesting perspective too, because she did all of this as a young lady in Sweden. Why don't you tell your story?
Well, you know, I was brought up outside Stockholm, and just a normal, sad Swedish diet. And by the time I was 15, I knew that there was things that needed to change in our diet. And between my dad, my brother, and I, because we were very athletic, we felt that, you know, we needed a change. And so we started to make salads. And what a change. Athletically, the recovery, any athlete should be vegan, raw food.
Give him a round of applause. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Just want to let you know before we bring him up that we have some vendors here. We have some, my brother, what you said that, what is that again, brother?
Reagan Alchemy.
Reagan Alchemy?
Yes.
I know, what is it that you have, brother?
Kombucha.
Kombucha? And what else?
Energetic devices.
Say it again?
Kombucha, energetic devices,
And
a healing water, which is
Structured Healing Water. Okay, thank you. Give them a round of applause. They're one of the best that's here. Also, we have Empress Jamila. Empress Jamila, give her a round of applause. She's also a massage therapist. What products do you have over there, Empress Jamila?
Multi-purpose organic products.
That's it? That sounds good. That's quick. Don't worry, she'll explain everything. Of course, we got Dr. Latham's table that's here. He has his new book, which is how to prepare some of the raw foods and raw dishes. Also, he has his chart here. He has the DVDs. Everything on that table right here in front is absolutely not free. $15. I was about to say free. Absolutely $15. So I already got one of my first books, so I know it's going to be nice. So if you want to learn how to do this and have a nice little book for yourself, I'm so honored that he's able to do that book and put it out there. He got some people that's here working with him. I see the sister here to work with him, and I see the Earth Center here. And also give a round of applause to Nicholas. Give Nicholas a round of applause. I want everybody to put their hands together for one of the great doctors in the business. Give him a round of applause, Dr. Aris.
Yes, my brother. Thank you so much. It's quite an honor to be here. You know, this is absolutely home. You know, when I left the jungle, you know, the tropical rainforest in Panama at the age of 17, straight out of the bush, guess where I landed? Bed-Stuy. Bed-Stuy, Bushwick and Putnam. Went to Bushwick High School, and that's where it all started. You know, growing up in this neighborhood during those days, it was quite a battleground. You know, to be able to navigate through our food basket that was presented to us, to pick out the things that we knew were not killer foods was a big task back then. You know, a sister, Lena Mobley from DC, back in the 60s, she wrote a book called Food as a Weapon. And that's what it was really all about in our communities during those times. Because when I went out to Bayside and went to Queensboro Community College and saw the difference of what was out there, you know, in the stores, I'm like, wait a minute. You know what? We got all these dried up, shriveled up apples and vegetables and stuff look like it should be thrown away, and we don't have no other choice. So it's been a long way. You know, just even right down here, up the road here on Fulton Street, you know, I got my first vegetarian 101. Yes, at the Uhudu Co-op, right at the corner of Claver and Fulton, the East. That great institution that was developed by our brother Jitu Weusi, you know, our ancestor, that made it all possible for us in our community to become vegetarians in 1968, 1969. You know, my first class I studied with Wally Mensah, right there at the East, and there was a vegetarian restaurant right there as well. People like Pharoah Sanders and all the great jazz artists used to come in during those times. But to find that in our neighborhood back then was quite a find. You know, so we really give thanks to all of our, you know, brothers and sisters who made it possible for us to do what we had to do, and for me to also to be here today to continue the struggle. You know, as we always say, you know, la lucha continua, you know, the struggle continues. And it's really been quite a ways since then. It's now 43 years of not consuming any animals at all. Not even the abortion you call an egg. No pus in the way of milk. So it's really been quite a journey coming from all of that through these channels, through right here. It's now been 37 years of not consuming any cooked foods whatsoever. So after, you know, really being self-taught, after those initial sparks that I got from being with the brothers and sisters at the co-op, and then just buying books, just eating books, eating knowledge on this whole system of what food is really all about, and looking to really get myself back home, my relationship with this planet. We're really disconnected if we're not eating from the earth. That's why we have a lot of, people from the other planet, I say brothers from another planet, but a lot of us, are from some other planet, because we're not really part of this planet the way we're living, or eating all of these artificial foods and or being what we eat, being artificial, being fake, and it's such a shame that even through this vegetarian system, a lot of us even opted for the fake stuff, the artificial, the texturized vegetable protein, running down to Chinatown to vegetarian paradise and eating all that vegetarian dog food, and then all the other stuff that comes into our community, whether it's through, the guise of religion or whatever it may be, it's still all about business, selling us all these foods that makes us fools, literally, So anyway, we're going to keep it fun, because that's really what it's all about, and having developed the Sunfired cuisine in 1979 in Harlem, which is the home of Sunfired foods. When I came back from Tanzania after living with the Maasai up in the Kilimanjaro for a couple of years and being a complete fruitarian, eating all organic, what I found in Harlem was couldn't cut it. It felt like it was the same. I was like 1967 all over again. Being in Harlem in 1979, no organic produce. Hardly any fresh produce, thanks to the Korean brothers and sisters who brought a little bit of something into the neighborhood. So we started a co-op, an organic co-op in Harlem. And from there, it evolved into a marketplace. We had an herb shop right at the corner of Lennox and 125th Street, Savannah Herbs. We had organic produce right there, and all of the Sunfired foods, juices and salads and sandwiches and all of these things. Then we moved on and set up a place right in Harlem on 123rd Street between Manhattan and Morningside, called the House of Life. This was our educational institution. This is where we started educating the community now. And from there, it's all been history. Having traveled throughout the entire country, going to all of the major health expos and just dishing out, just living foods. I became known throughout the whole country for what I do. And subsequently, eventually, the Oxford Encyclopedia of Food and Drink in America acclaimed me as the father of ethical gourmet raw food cuisine in America for having spiced it. Yeah, when I got into living foods back in 1976, you really had to be sick to eat raw foods, because that's what it was really all about. It was developed, was designed for people who were ill. Very clean, very pure, very basic, very bland, healing cuisine. Give thanks to Dr. Ann Wigmore and the Hippocrates people for having healed many people from cancer and other life-threatening disease just through this stuff, fresh foods, fresh food. But again, it was designed for those people who could not have stimulating foods, So it was about healing. So myself, having this cultured, educated taste bud, growing up in Latin America with a Caribbean, grandmother at home, spicing it up every day, coming here and going through all the other things I went through, I got into raw foods and just had to put some flavor in it. And that is what Sunfired Foods is all about. It is gourmet, as stated, ethical raw food for eaters. So you don't have to be sick. You don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to give up anything. You can really enjoy this food. You can have fun, and it's going to heal you. So what the heck, and take that, as a side thing too. So, coming through all of this, and then moving from the U.S. in 1995, moved to Jamaica, went down there with Dick Gregory, set up an institute down there, set up a whole retreat facility. And being out of this country now for these years, I came back in 97, I believe it was, for about 3 years. I opened up right here on Flatbush and 6th Avenue, right at that little triangle, which is now a Mexican taco joint. We had Sunfired juice club there. And we really like lit up the place, brought things back into perspective. But by 2000, I realized that all I need to do on a permanent level here was done. So I moved back to Jamaica. Subsequently, I lived in Brazil for a while. Lived in Panama, Costa Rica. Now I live in Belize. So I just come here now and then to keep the spirit alive, so you don't get caught up. Because there's a whole lot going on today in the raw food circus. You got people selling all kind of dry powder, calling it superfoods. And you got to try to supplement that with some fresh food, because the thing is so damn expensive. Fine, we can accept that because it does have some value and things like that, but we really got to come on home, and we got to stay home. It's about fresh food. Papaya is a superior food. If goji berry is a superfood, then papaya, sure enough, we got to be a superior food. Because papaya is used in all meat tenderizers. It tenderizes steak. Without papain from the papaya, that piece of steak will choke you to death because it will be so tough. Can goji berry do that? Can all of these other expensive superfoods they beat us up with do those kind of things? So you hang with your papayas and your lettuce and tomatoes and all of these superior foods, because we need moisture, we need liquid. The body is 70% liquid. And eating all of these dry things, it's going to dry us out. We're going to go back just where we started all over again. But it's all about business, as you see. So there's no mystique, there's no mystery about what we're talking about. It's really not even raw food, because that's really, don't even serve what we're talking about right. It's fresh food. It's simply fresh food that we're talking about. So we're going to go ahead. My sister Mahasi is going to assist us here today. We're going to go ahead and do a recipe for you. We're going to get started. Mahasi is going to get started with our cashew cheese. So we have cashews that have been soaked. We're going to go through our homogenizer here. So let's get something for the cashews to fall on. You can just set this right up under here. You can just tear the bag open and reach right in with a spoon. Yeah, just rip it right open and sit it on the side right here. Okay. That's good right here. So tell you what, let's put it out so it'll be a little easier to deal with here. We're going to slide this over here and slide another one right here to catch it as it comes out. So just put about a half a spoonful. Let's set it on right here. And we're going to go ahead and grind that down, about a half a spoonful. So what Mahasa is using is a champion juicer. It's a champion juicer. And the champion juicer, for me, is the best investment in terms of any juicing machine. This part here is the juice screen. So what we're using inside of here, instead of the juice screen, is one without holes. One just like this without holes. So they call it a homogenizing plate. So what you're doing, you're just grinding the soaked cashews. These are raw cashews that were soaked for 12 hours. You always have to soak all of your seeds, nuts, grains, and beans to remove what is called the enzyme inhibitors in these foods. All of these foods are dormant in their dry state. So, which means that the life energy or the vitality of the food is at rest. So in order to activate it, like they do, say in a nursery, if you want to plant a particular plant, you get those dry seeds and you wet it first. So we soak for 12 hours. That removes the enzyme inhibitors. Enzymes are catalysts. These are the life energy. All plants, animals, and human beings, we all function on this enzymatic level. So in this dormant state that is now being soaked with water, removing those enzyme inhibitors, now the seed germinates. Because the life is locked in the germ of the seed. So the seed germinates and it comes to life. It comes to life. So for example, we have sunflower seeds here. These sunflower seeds were soaked for 12 hours. Now, they have been germinated right after soaking. You can leave them now for 2 days and they will sprout. Leave them in a strainer, colander. When you soak, you want to soak at room temperature. And you can soak in an open container. It doesn't have to be closed. Because as the seeds absorb the moisture and the enzyme inhibitors are released, the enzyme inhibitors are toxic. And that's why when we eat these foods unsoaked, it gas us up. Because they're not going to digest in that state. Leave them in a colander for a couple of days, rinse them twice a day, because now they're living foods. They're growing. And if you leave them sitting in water, they're going to drop. So you want to let them be draining. So after they sprout for 2 days, ideally, if you're just going to plant them, then you would have soaked the sunflower seeds that have the shell on them. Those are the little black shell. These we're just going to consume. We're going to make a nut meat or cheese or something with it. So we get the ones that are whole. But if you get the ones that still have the shell on it, and you want to plant them, so after sprouting them for 2 days, you plant them in soil, and they will grow, and this is what you get. These are sunflower greens. From these seeds, they grow into sunflower greens. This is a living food. This is a living food. There's nothing raw about this. It's perfectly done. It's well done. So my husband's going to go ahead and break our machine down. Let's take this out and let's get the spatula and clear that off of the spatula. And we're going to break this down here by removing this. See how easy this machine is to operate? Very easy to clean. Now you're going to clear this out with the spatula as well. And inside the shaft there's some cashews, so you just get something that's narrow that can fit in here. So my husband is going to do this for us. Go in there and get all of that out. You can get all of this out and use it. This is still money. We don't have to throw that little bit away. And then once she gets that off, then you just get a paper towel and you pull this off. And that's it. Those are just the parts that need to be washed. Everything else is a motor. When you buy one of these champion juicers, buy a commercial heavy-duty model. Make sure it's commercial heavy-duty. And they don't stock them in the stores. So they're going to tell you it's heavy-duty because it's heavy-duty compared to a juice man. So if they try to fool you, look at the back of the serial number, and it begins with a C for commercial. Or it may begin with HD for heavy-duty. If this was not a commercial heavy-duty, the serial number will begin with the letter for the color, W, white. So that's how you got to know. Otherwise, they'll get you. And you don't want to get a household model. It's about a difference of $75 to get the commercial heavy-duty. It's wired with a thicker wire, so it has more torque, which means it extracts more juice. And for another $75, you can get an attachment to do greens, that will do green leafy vegetables. This one you can use for apples, cucumbers, celery, hard stuff, carrots, pineapple, and those things. But for green leaf, there's a whole other attachment for $75. So for under $400, you get a good lifetime investment. As opposed to go buy a little juice man, a little toy for $150, $200. It's going to break up. Every time you make juice, you throw money away in wet pulp. So there are 4 pillars to a live food kitchen. Besides the juice extractor, you need a blender. And you don't have to go this high. This is a Vitamix. This is a 3 horsepower. It's very powerful. This one is about $500. You're just good enough with a bar mixer. Get your bar mixer, $100, 2-speed, high and low. And you don't get those in a consumer place. You have to go down to the restaurant supply places down on the bar and get your bar mixer for $100, and it's fine. You don't need to spend $300, $500 for a blender if it's just for, you know, household use for an average family. So you can go ahead and just clean those up, Mahasan, and bring them back so we can get ready for our next step. So to do the cashew cheese, these are raw cashews that were soaked for 12 hours, drain, rinse, then we just homogenize them, we just break it down. So this is raw protein here. This is rich, concentrated protein. And this is what you want to do. In order for these things to digest properly, they must be soaked. Because without those, with those enzyme inhibitors still in the nuts, snacking on those dried nuts, what's going to happen is that they're not going to digest. And you're going to get all gassed up. So they must be raw and they must be soaked. And further yet, I would even break them down like this. Because chewing, we don't chew well. We don't chew enough. To really break, you have to break it down like this. We chew it. And we don't do that. You know, and practically all our foods, this is one of our biggest challenges with the type of foods that we're eating. They're too soft, they're too mushy, they're too pasty. There's no chewing that really needs to take place with a lot of this food. Rice and soft cooked, boiled up beans and potatoes and breads and all of this soft stuff. Every mouthful of food that you chew, that you eat, you need to chew it at least 32 times. Each mouthful, especially if it's cooked. Because you have to mix it with your saliva, which has the digestive enzyme. Because once you cook the food, once you take that wheat, that whole wheat berry, and just pulverize it and make flour, the digestive, the enzyme inhibitors will not remove. So that wheat berry now is going to go through some challenges to be broken down. You pulverize that wheat berry, bake it, turn it into a loaf of bread. Your body has to undo all of that. Because in the baking, you destroy even the digestive enzyme that were already in there, even though they were milled fine. Because eating any food above the highest recorded solar temperature ever on the planet, 135 degrees Fahrenheit, you kill all of the enzymes. You kill it. You kill any living entity, whether it's plant, animals, or human beings. That's why that place is known as Death Valley, California, that had the highest recorded solar temperature ever, 135 degrees. So imagine you boiling, you know, some potatoes at 300, 500 degrees. You kill it. You destroy the digestive enzyme. So now you're going to take that baked bread and you're going to put it in your body without any digestive enzymes, so it can't break itself down. So your body now has to produce the necessary digestive enzyme to digest all of this cooked food.